All right, so we're going to go into round two of Luque and Neal. Luque came out in round two doing exactly what I thought he should have been doing, at least the second half of the first round. He started throwing a bunch of kicks off the right side so that he could occupy Neal's left hand. Um, and then by throwing those kicks, now it makes Neal think like, okay, is a kick going to come? Is a punch going to come? And now you can start layering your fakes and feints off of that to get a guy guessing. It's just always a sound strategy to throw numerous techniques at people, right? Even if they're not like the one that you really want to work. For example, takedowns. They should have been faking takedowns the whole time too, right? To freeze the guy in place, get his hands down, maybe to think about defense, and then you can come over the top. But a lot of guys don't do that. They get tunnel vision. They only want to do the one thing that they think is going to take them to victory. When in reality, you need to mix everything together. I believe it's called mixed martial arts. So by Luque coming out and throwing a bunch of those kicks, if you notice, Neal immediately returned a kick, right? It's like, Jedi mind trick. If I come out and I blast you with a kick, you're probably going to try to return the kick. So then what can I do? Knowing you're going to return the kick, I can catch you down the middle, right? So Luque threw the kick. Neal tries to return right away, which is very typical. But Luque didn't make him pay and return, right? He just defended, right? I think he missed a pretty big opportunity by not countering that. So let's see. So if you notice in the second round compared to the first, Luque got, I believe he got dropped twice and rocked really bad once. Like he was definitely, on ice skates a few times that first round. Never in the second round because of the amount of kicks he threw. It also kept Neal more in the middle, right? He wasn't being able to move out to his left, right? Neal was moving out to his left, and now Luque was landing a bunch of right kicks, which kind of kept him in the middle. It didn't allow him to skate out and make Luque have to chase him, right? Kept him in the middle. That's what he wanted. He just wasn't following up with punches too much, which I think would have been more beneficial. But you can see it was a way better round for Luque in the second round when he started landing those kicks. At one point, you could tell that the inside leg kick was not only off balancing Neal, but it was hurting because Neal, this is around the 248 mark of the second round, the kick is coming. He pulled his lead leg, his right leg back so quickly that he completely pulled himself out of position. He did not want to eat that kick. So he was not only defending the kick, so he's thinking about it. He pulled himself completely out of position. He was in no way, shape, or form able to go back offensive on that, and he was very square. If Luque had followed up on that, that would have been a prime opportunity for him to have done some damage. It just shows that those inside leg kicks were working, something he should have been doing from the outset. It was the very first technique he threw in the fight, and he landed it solid. I don't know why he didn't throw more of those. As you can see in the second round, he did go to it, and he had much better success with that. So at the 150 mark of the second round, Neal attempts a takedown. The entry wasn't that great, but I think because they had gone, since it was 150, they've gone 8 minutes with no takedown attempts. I think it threw Luque off. He wasn't thinking that was going to come, so he managed to get in and get a great takedown. Right, he didn't do a lot of damage with it, but one thing that does in a close striking round, you get that takedown and it sways the judges. Right, now the second thing it does is now it makes your opponent think, oh, okay, I have to think about takedowns now. I can't just freely throw my kicks or my punches if this guy is going to try to get underneath me and get the takedown, right? So something that should have happened before the 8-minute mark in the fight, in my opinion, should always be faking those level changes and keeping the guy off balance. Not off balance like grabbing him and off balance mentally by me attacking different things, or at least acting like I'm going to attack different things. So the last minute of this round was more of a Luque style of fight. They were pressured against the cage, and Neal stayed in the middle, right? They were kind of head-to-head in a clinch type situation. I take that back. I don't think that was at the end of the second rounds when they were in the clinch situation, but it was a closer fight. Luque landed some left hooks to the body, which again would stop Neal from moving out that direction, right? So now Luque is throwing his right kick to stop Neal from moving out to his left, Luque's right. And he's boxing him in by throwing left hook to the body, which is going to stop Neal from moving out to his right. All right. Now, he wouldn't have been able to land those body shots in the first round because of the distance, right? Neal kept the distance where he wanted it. And now Luque managed to get in a little bit more. Things were changing because Neal couldn't use his lateral movement so much because of the kicks. There was an inside leg kick that Luque threw that off-balanced Neal. It caused him to take a bad shot. I think he was over getting kicked to the inside of the leg. So he took a bad shot, which would have been a great opportunity for Luque to counter as he came in, but he didn't take advantage of that opportunity. Overall, in that second round, Luque still ate a bunch of straight left hands, but they did not have the effect that they had in the first round. And I think that's because of the number of kicks that Luque was throwing. Luque was throwing those kicks, so Neal couldn't just freely throw his left hand for fear that he would catch that kick in the body, in the head, even in the leg, which would off-balance him, right? So, good round by Luque there. I'm not sure if he won. He still ate a lot of left hands, but it was definitely where he needed to be heading to get this fight in his favor. At the beginning of the third round, Neal came out and had an instant takedown attempt. I think that was super smart because Luque had been pressuring. He had been firing those kicks, kind of getting closer to Neal than he had in the first round. So Neal's like, all right, if you're going to get that close to me, or if you're going to want to throw kicks, you're going to want to stand on one leg, I'm going to shoot on you. So that would, hopefully stifle some of those kicks that Luque was throwing. I think that was a really smart move on his part. Luque's kicks he took about a minute off of throwing any kicks. I think he should have stayed on those kicks. And at one point, he actually switched stances. He went to a southpaw stance, and I think that was probably so a right-handed guy is going to eat that straight left hand right down the middle, right? So I think he switched, hoping that his jab hand would give him some defense without him having to think about it, think about head movement or parries. The hand would just be there to kind of block it. He instantly ate a big left hand, and he switched right back to orthodox stance. Something that people need to realize is even if you're offensively good from both sides, typically it's your defense that lacks when you switch. And you can clearly see that when Luque switched stances, he got drilled with a straight left hand right away. So just keep that in mind if you're a switch stance type fighter or wannabe. Defense typically lacks, so it's something that you would need to really concentrate on and be aware of when you get in the fight and you want to switch. Let's see, what else do we have here? Neal landed some more big shots, rocked Luque again. He stepped in, and he started throwing some kind of reckless uppercuts. Some of them were landing, but if you go back and watch the fight at that point where he's trying to finish, his right arm was completely down. It was kind of weird. He was throwing with one hand with one hand down. That would have been a good opportunity for Luque to have countered with a left hook, but he was probably pretty rocked, pretty tired at that point. Was just trying to keep his hands up, his shell up, and get his defense going there. And then of course that was the end of the fight. Neal finished him. I just have to say that, one thing Luque can do, I think, to help in his future fights is his head movement. It's that incidental defense, right? You can't just come in here. The head's got to be moving. You got to be rocking the shoulders, right? You can't let the guy know where the shots are coming from. Two, when you cut a guy off, you're not just cutting a guy off and he's going to stand there and say, okay, well, you caught me, we're going to duke it out, right? No, when you cut the guy off, you got to land your shot because he's going to move again. It's a constant process throughout the whole fight. Cut him off, throw, cut him off, throw, cut him off, throw, right? Just like Neal was pulling you in, throw, move, pulling you in, throw, move. It's constant, right? You don't win these fights, especially at the highest level, by doing something one time. Right, it's going to be over 15 or 25 minutes that you're going to have to do these things, and then hopefully you catch a guy you get into quicker. But you have to be willing and have enough self-belief that you're going to stick with that strategy the whole time. So Luque, head movement, cut a guy off, land 1 or 2 shots, be ready to move again. Don't think that everyone's just going to stand and duke it out with you. A tip for everyone is just more level changes, right? Faking the takedowns. I mean, Luque has a really good Darce choke, so people have to be aware that, if he takes you down, something's there. So you have to be leery of his takedowns. But if he's not faking any takedowns, you don't have anything to worry about. Something all fighters need to do, no matter, Israel Adesanya needs to be faking takedowns. That's going to open up more strikes on the high line. That's just smart MMA fighting. Neal, I thought, looked absolutely amazing. He stuck to his game plan. Very intelligent, a lot of movement, believed in the strategy, didn't deviate from it. A couple times he got like a little tunnel vision when he had him hurt. I think that's, most people would do that. You want to go in there and get the guy out of there, but he would eat a shot and be like, all right, let me cool off, let me back up, and let's just get right back to the game plan. I think that's super intelligent, and if he fights like that from now on, guys better watch out, because he's fast, he's got crisp shots, and you put the IQ in there, and you better watch out for Jeff Neal.